highs and lows for humble, eloquent Sergio Mora, a contender these days at 160 pounds, making his debut here at 154. An instant celebrity with the contender title. He turned down a lucrative title fight with Jermaine Taylor and lost a huge opportunity when a fight with Kasim Uma fell through. It's been tough, he said, getting up for lesser names, and he didn't look sharp versus Elvin Ayala and Rito Rubalcaba. That said, Al, tonight he hopes to do what two previous contender fighters have done, pull off the upset.
Yeah, the two other contender fighters that did that, Alfonso Gomez beat Arturo Gatti and Brian Vera beat Andy Lee. They were not winners of the contenders, but were people on the show. However, some of the contender winners have failed in major title matches. Sergio Mora believes it's because they didn't take the right fights. He feels he waited for the right championship match, but Vernon Forrest has something to say about that.
Mora is 4-0-1 since the contender. Some wonder if he didn't win that show, which provided a lot of exposure, would he be here fighting for a world title? Others feel he'll defy the odds and win tonight. He's about a 5-1 favorite, highly decorated 15-year pro Vernon Forrest, former Olympian, 3 world titles in 2 weight divisions, former pound-for-pound top 5. We are talking magazine cover good. But then the consecutive losses to Ricardo Mayorga, the injuries, his career stalled. But now he's become one of the best comeback stories in recent years. Some might question the opposition, Al, but he has looked strong, fast, and confident of late.
You know, the 2-year layoff that he had because of his shoulder, he believes, and so do many boxing observers, including me, has helped him in these later years. He's a fresher 37-year-old than I think he might otherwise be. And I don't think it's hype when he says he feels much better than his chronological age.
Well, he still has the fire, the burning hunger. But we have seen guys get old in one night in this sport. There are those who suggest that that could happen tonight. Let's check the numbers as we go to the tail of the tape. Will age be a factor? At 37, Forrest gives away 9 years. The height and reach nearly even. Mora, working with fitness guru Robert Ferguson, said no problem making weight. What's not revealed here, advantage Forrest in terms of experience and level of opposition. And the key unified rules for this world title affair: there's no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round. If an accidental headbutt causes the fight to end within 4, it's a no decision. After 4 rounds, they go to the cards. If a punch causes a cut and the injured fighter can't continue, he loses by TKO. So here at Mohegan Sun, we are getting ready for Vernon Forrest versus Sergio Mora for the WBC Super Welterweight Championship. Let's get the official introductions from a ring announcer, the classy Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to Mohegan Sun Casino Resort here in Uncasville, Connecticut for the featured bout of the evening, and it's brought to you by Gary Shaw Productions, Fight Night, Tournament of Contenders, and Showtime. This bout is sanctioned by the World Boxing Council, President Jose Suleiman, Supervisor Joe Dwyer, along with the Mohegan Tribe Department of Athletic Regulation. The chairman of the tribe is Bruce Bosom. Supervisors at ringside, Michael Mazzulli and Michael Murtha. Introducing to you our physicians at ringside, Dr. Michael Schwartz, Dr. Anthony Alessi, and Dr. Angela Gagliardi. Introducing our timekeeper at the bell, also keeping count of the knockdowns, Bill Maxiner. Our 3 judges scoring this bout from ringside: from Bangkok, Thailand, Anik Hongtongkam; from Flushing, New York, John McKay; and from Dickerson, Texas, Gail Van Hoy. Presenting our referee in charge of this bout, he'll be giving instructions after the introductions. From Braintree, Massachusetts, Richard Flaherty. All right, fans, here we go with our main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBC Super Welterweight Championship of the World. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from Mohegan Sun Casino Resort, it's showtime! Introducing to you first, the challenger. On my left, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black trunks with silver trim, fighting out of the east side of Los Angeles, California. He weighed in at the super welterweight limit of 154 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign in the ring with a record of 20 wins, no losses, 1 draw, with 5 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, he is making his first attempt at a world title. Introducing the WBC number 8 ranked middleweight contender known as the Latin Snake, introducing Sergio Mora. And his opponent across the ring on my right, fighting out of the red corner, the defending world champion, wearing black trunks with orange trim and hailing from Atlanta, Georgia. He weighed in at 153 3/4 pounds. His record stands at 40 wins, 2 losses, 1 no contest, with 29 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, making the second defense of his title, ladies and gentlemen, here is the 3-time world champion and the current WBC Super Welterweight Champion of the world, introducing Vernon the Viper Forrest. Once again, a referee in charge, Richard Flaherty, now to give instructions.
Okay, gentlemen, we're going to do 12 rounds. All the questions have been answered in the dressing room. Okay, just a little bit high. That's okay. That's all right there.
That's too high. That's too high.
Right, you got to get him down. All right, touch him up, gentlemen. Touch him up.
So much for touching up. We asked, you responded. Al, the results of our text message poll, and pretty close between 1 and 2.
Interesting. You'd think there would have been, although Mayorga did get support because their first 2 fights were so interesting, but Shane Mosley remains a popular and interesting figure to all boxing fans, as he should.
Forrest wants Mayorga. Rangy, sharp-punching Vernon Forrest, a gifted boxer with power, which comes from his skills. The jab makes everything work, but his money punch, the big right. More a kind of a quirky, awkward style, very unorthodox. He'll switch back and forth. He's got the good hand speed, but he kind of fights in spurts. He'll mostly stay on the outside and dart in sporadically. He'll look to steal rounds. Very tricky kind of a guy.
I think these early rounds very important for Sergio Mora. He needs to understand he belongs in the ring with Vernon Forrest and needs to get some things done during the course of these first couple of rounds, and we'll see if that can happen.
Forrest typically wants to establish that long jab early. It sets up the power shots. 29 of his 40 wins by knockout, 12 in the first round.
Check your top, check your top.
Mora is used to being hit by middleweight, so that could be a plus tonight for him. He's also mentally tough, but not a knockout threat. Only 5 KOs in his 20 wins. So far as particularly Al, with his proven chin, could probably afford to take risks. He's only been down once. He told us he'd never thought about that till I brought it up in the fighter meeting yesterday. He was only concerned with Mora's skills. You think I jinxed him?
He hopes not. Yeah, he said he's never thought much about it. Now, you know, there's the right hand of Forrest, which could be a good weapon here tonight and should be. And, you know, Sergio Mora coming down to 154, you talked about him working with Robert Ferguson and trying to get his body there. I think that's a terrific move for him. I think this could be a good weight for him, even though he says if he wins his title, he'd vacate it. But I think this might be a good weight for Sergio Mora. We'll see.
He did say if he won tonight, he would immediately give up the title and move back to 160. Forrest said Mora was the first fighter he sparred with after his surgery, claiming he dominated Mora with one hand while laughing. Mora claims he had the upper hand. Seems to be a difference of opinion.
Now there was the uppercut by Mora on the inside, a punch I mentioned in the keys could be effective for him. So far, Sergio Mora has chosen to fight from the outside against Forrest rather than get inside. And Vernon, happy with that, I would think. And Vernon taking some time to figure him out, but I would think he'd be happy with a fight at long range.
Mora just walked into a jab. You hear the crowd reaction in the background, not liking that. There's a good body shot and a heavy right hand by Forrest, who opens up. A chopping right miss. The elusive Sergio Mora got out of the way of that one.
The right hand of Forrest, which I suggested before this fight would be his most important punch, has really made itself known here in round number 1 and might have won him this round against Mora, even though Vernon hasn't been super active.
Because